Right. That's real hot take, kid. Yeah. Child rock.
Oh, more on that later.
Child rock, more on that later. Cheers and welcome to From Behind the Barcast, the podcast for bartending, service industry, drinking in general. I'm Paxton Eugene. That is Clint Moses, and we have Sunset Kelly on the one.
Now that you figured out what the button is, you don't get so happy with yourself.
Oh man, labeling these buttons.
It's crazy how labeling things
after a year. Thank you guys
you're not in charge of the nuclear codes.
Thank you guys for don't leave me with my finger on the button.
You tried to transfer the call, sir, and you blew up a whole city in Russia.
Which extension did I hit? Oh, New Orleans. I'm sorry.
Whoops.
That fell into the sea.
Sorry, Grant.
Thanks for tuning in again this week. We're recording on a Monday. Yesterday was Easter, so
Masters.
And Masters, which I was off for. We'll talk more about that later. But yesterday was Easter, and I went to work. I dressed like an Easter egg. I've got this blue hoodie that's like sort of tie-dye looking.
I know exactly the hoodie you're talking about.
So it kind of looks like an Easter egg, and
Did you have bunny ears on?
Nah, I wish. So I get there. No, I pulled my pockets out, and I made bunny ears there.
There's cat ears in there.
So I get to work, and there's not a soul there. No one had opened the bar during the daytime, the outside bar, and there's not a soul sitting on the deck because it is sort of cold and rainy for this time of year.
It wasn't really raining yesterday, but it was just cold, and it had been raining for a few days.
It had rained the day before, so it was it was a weird thing. So I got there, and I was like, well, it's an Easter miracle because I don't have to work. So I can come home and finish watching the Masters, which I didn't really finish watching, but
didn't need to.
So then I was sitting here and I was like, oh man, I wonder if anyone had brought Easter food up there. And then I started thinking, I was like, but what, like traditionally, I haven't had a lot of Easters in terms of like family events, or at least in the past like 20 years, 20 or so years, like since, family died and all that. So it's like, what is Easter food? The only thing I can really remember is honey ham.
Deviled eggs.
Mm-hmm.
Is that Easter food or is that just any get-together food?
It is 100% Easter food. You must have deviled eggs on Easter. There is no way around it. Deviled egg must be included. And you know what the main ingredient in deviled eggs is? Mayonnaise.
Duke's mayonnaise.
You have to have deviled eggs at Easter.
I thought it was eggs, but
paprika.
Because they're eggs, Yeah, paprika. And the thing is, you always get a variety. There's somebody wants to stick some dill in there. Stop dilling around.
There's some people that want to stick pickles in there.
Yeah, look. It's just classic. Okay?
Yeah.
Classic deviled egg. Like, the thing is, deviled eggs, it's one of those things that, like, you know what deviled eggs taste like to me? My mom's deviled eggs. Like, water, as you grow older, tastes like where you grew up drinking water. Like, I can drink Wilmington Island and Tybee tap water. Well, Tybee tap water's gotten better now. But Wilmington Island tap water, from being, like, out there till I was, like, 12, 13, tastes like water to me.
Like,
that's actual water.
Wilmington, 2018.
You go somewhere else, though, you're like, this water tastes different. But, like, that water is what water tastes like because that's what I drank growing up, especially out of a hose. You could blindfold me and give me 5 different hose waters. I could like,
we're doing a test, buddy. Believe that.
go to Wilmington Island, take water out of a hose.
Because I've definitely
Marshall Wilmington.
I've brainstormed a segment where I'll get like Tito's and then Svedka or something and give it to you as like vodka water and see if you can tell the difference.
Eric did this in the kitchen one night. He brought out 5 vodkas and was like, so you can tell them apart. And I got 4 out of 5
from like quality, low quality to high quality, or brand to brand.
Just because we know what the 5 vodkas they have there, so it was like which one's which one tastes better to you.
Right.
And I lined them up. I think I picked Goose over Tito's. But like the only one I missed, the well vodka, I think I swapped with Absolute or whatever, or Smirnoff or something. But I did pretty good. Everybody else was just all over the place. So I drink vodka and water.
Yeah.
So like my palate's kind of attuned to it.
It's attuned to the vodka more than anything. And then sometimes you put emergency in there. But when you come into poo,
after the emergency's over, it's either ginger beer Or water.
But it's mostly when you come to poos, it's just vodka and water.
Yeah. Trying to watch my weight.
And that
Like
was funny.
eggs.
It's funny you picked Goose over Tito's because that lady last week, I think I made her my Karen, I'm not sure, but she would not shut the F up about how Tito's was the most garbage vodka. And why didn't we have Kettle One? And then I was like, well, we don't need that many vodka. We have a lot of vodka.
Huckapoos.
Yeah. And then she's
why
like,
don't you have Shiraz?
yeah. And she's like, well, go. I guess I'll have Grey Goose. I was like, the French don't know how to make vodka either. Not any more than the Americans. I mean,
the thing is, it's like,
I get it if you're like you don't have any Russian vodka.
Yeah. I like potato vodkas for the most part.
Yeah.
And there's a new one called Blue Ice, which is there used to be a DJ out here named Blue Ice. You remember him? He's playing at Sandbar a lot.
That rings a bell.
He did get in Savannah too, and he was better than Febreze.
Yeah.
He was much fresher than Febreze,
Yeah.
but what was his real name? Anyways, he was kind of a tool, but he was nice, but he was a tool.
Okay. That sounds like a very DJ
He was the kind of
thing.
guy that would wear headphones when he wasn't about to DJ, like he would have them on around his neck. Or after he played, he kept the headphones around his neck, even though he was nowhere near equipment. They weren't plugged into anything.
Yep.
It's just like, hey, remember, I'm a DJ.
I don't know if you guys
I'm a
know
DJ.
this. That's funny. That's like, yeah, that's like leaving your.
I saw a crowd of kids going to Walmart the other day. Five like late teens kids going into Walmart. There's 5 of them. They're hanging out together. They all got out of a car together. One guy's got headphones around his neck,
full headphones, not
like full
earbuds.
studio headphones like we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, is there going to be some point in this excursion to Walmart where you're like, you know what? Let me catch a track real
Gotta
quick.
slide these things. Now look,
Were you in the car at some point and you were like, got to put these headphones on?
I hate the music we're listening to in the car, so I'm going to put my own on.
There's studio headphones. The cord is 15 feet long. Like, what are you doing with all that cord in your pocket?
Here's the thing. The flex of putting giant headphones on so no one will talk to you, that's fine. Because my
You're
flex.
with 5 people. You're with a gang of people. You're not in the airport by yourself,
I like the flex, but it's like, hey, earbuds are enough.
The sound quality earbuds is amazing now. You don't need studio headphones in Walmart. I know it sucks in Walmart. And if you'd had them on, you would have missed the lady screaming about being homeless in there when I walked into the Walmart.
But actually, I'm starting to agree with this person about the headphones, even if they're with friends, because once you get into Walmart, it is the desert of terrible music.
No, I want to hear. If I'm with Walmart with my buddies, we're laughing at lots of stuff in there. There's going to be some sort of happenstance where I'm like, hey, look at that.
And they blast.
And you want to hear. You want to hear the idiots.
But they blast that music outside as well. They have speakers outside the Walmart on Whitmarsh.
You don't want to hear the couple arguing about Hidden Valley versus Ken's?
Yeah, you know what though? But I keep mine low enough where if I do hear something that piques my interest, all I do is hit pause.
One of mine, I'll hit the sound through thing and turn them off and be like, oh, listen to this.
All right, so back to deviled eggs. If there's not a smattering of paprika on top, I'm kind of disappointed. Do you feel the same?
Oh, yes. It's
I don't know what paprika tastes like. I don't know if it tastes like anything. It's like putting bay leaves and shit. I don't think it matters.
It definitely matters. I just sold 4 ducks this weekend that I used the bay leaves to brine them in. I'm going to bring you bay leaves next week. I'm drying some for you right now because I have. If you need some bay leaves, reach out. I've got a bay leaf tree that is this big. I'm going to save like $12 the rest of my life. If you'd like to save $12 too, holler at your boy.
See, if I could grow like saffron strands, that would be, you'd be saving thousands.
Saffron strands is your band name?
Yeah.
It's all blondes?
No, it's the new strain of COVID.
Saffron strands. Not blondes revival.
Okay, I mean, I do like saffron in the way that it colors rice.
That's true.
All right, what are we drinking?
So we're drinking. I don't know if I want to cheers you because your glass is about had it.
All right, this glass here. It's survived for about
I wash my own glass, not
year.
his. See who's better.
It's lasted for about a year, but every time I wash it, without fail, I
wash
put
it
another
with
rock
rocks?
in it.
cleaning it.
I put it in a rock tumbler. Yes.
Just
Remember
kick it.
those?
You
That's,
yeah.
I didn't know why kids had them, but apparently it smoothed out the rocks.
That's nice.
Yeah. All right. Whatever.
So we're drinking Josh
Thanks, Josh.
Sellers Red Blend, and Clint was not prepared to look at what the blend was. So
Whatever. Did you drink this on Easter? What about wine on Easter? I mean, it is the resurrection of the blood of Christ. Or did you drink wine at all on Easter? Is that a thing for
So
you?
here's what happened
about
wine on Easter. We'll get into this wine in a minute.
Okay.
So I had a busy day yesterday. I got up at 7 o'clock in the morning to smoke 4 ducks to sell because people wanted ducks at 11 o'clock. I don't know, they were taking the duck to church with them and going to swaddle it in the church, just have the smoked duck with them. But then the weather was a little inclement, as we discussed.
Yes.
So I was like, look, I texted everybody. I was like, it would be better if I could give you the ducks at noon, not at 11, because they'll have more time. It took longer. Smoker, and also my smoker. It's like an old man now. When you get out of a car, you kind of grunt like my car, the Beamer. You get out, you grunt a lot. And that smoker, when you turn it above 300 degrees, is like, it's got 400 hours on it since last June when the app updated to keep hours. So that's another 2 years of that. So that thing's got over 1,000 hours. So it's,
you open the lid, it goes, oh, Clint.
not another duck.
Not another duck and duck.
Oh, it's like never mind. I was going to make a bad porn joke.
Not another
So
duck.
I do that. I have to go to the Sheehan's where I go on Easter every year. They're my old neighbors out here on Tybee. And I bring cauliflower casserole. We'll get into that in the second half because we're going to get a little preview of that. Oh, no, we forgot to put that in the oven. Anyways, so Patreon casserole. So I go out to their house, bring that casserole. I'm only got an hour and 25 minutes to be there because I got to pick my buddy Brian Herford up at the airport. Thankfully, I called Brian and said, hey, you don't have any like crazy large luggage. He's like, I have golf clubs. I had called him the night before and was like, oh, I'm glad you mentioned that because I was going to pick you up in a 2-seater convertible BMW, and we're not going to be driving down the road with golf clubs hanging out the back like we're in Seinfeld.
Exactly how you
when that guy stole
I was
Jerry's
about to say, that
socks.
sounds like the uniform.
Here's the thing. Where do you put the golf clubs? In the front seat. Brian now in the back seat behind his golf clubs. Like, none of it looked good. It was kind of rainy, so I was like, okay, look.
What a flex, man. You'd be like, get in the back if you want your clubs in here,
Yeah.
buddy. Then
They're
everyone
not
thinks
fitting
that
in the
your
trunk,
club.
dude.
Yeah.
And so I borrowed Carl's truck. So I'm waiting for Carl to get there. I think Carl went to Black Church because he got there at 2:15. I was like, that church just got done. I'm like, what the hell?
Holy yeah, because
Holy yes, exactly. Holy yeah.
Sorry, Catholics will go long because
Nope.
they talk a lot.
Nope. Catholics have it down, bro.
What,
Catholics,
Easter? Not weddings.
So here's the thing. I wrote this down because this is great. Catholics have religion down to a science in everything but weddings. Catholic Church, stand, sit, kneel, sit, boom, boom, gone. 45 minutes tops usually. Easter goes a little long, but an average Catholic service is quick. Dude, Catholic prayers for food, you know?
Yeah. Rub a dub dub, bless the scrub.
And it's over. I'm like, get to it. They want to drink. They want to get to drinking. Okay, Catholics like to drink. Every holiday is a drinking holiday, especially one called St. Patrick's Day. But weddings. First Catholic wedding. You've been to a Catholic wedding. I'm sure you've been to one.
Yes.
No one warned you, about the feet thing.
Oh, yeah.
You're sitting there and you're like, this is kind of dragging on. Wait, what are they doing with that water? Why are they taking are they about to wash each other's feet? And God forbid you go to someone's Catholic wedding that has a foot fetish. He's over there for like 15 minutes. Like, hey, you're consummating too early, buddy. Calm down. We all want to keep moving
All right,
here.
Quentin Tarantino, let's go.
So I go to Tybee. I'm having I have one drink because I had to drive to the damn airport. And as I'm about to leave, my buddy D Herb, who's a wine rep for Quality, he runs Quality Wines. Actually, he's like the manager. Starts busting out the good wine, and I'm like, he's like, just have a little. I'm like, I don't want to sip of this great champagne you've got and this nice white Chenin Blanc because I'm not going to take a taste and go, I mean, how much is an Uber for Brian from the airport? Brian calls, hey, I landed 20 minutes early. I'm like, I was already going to be 20 minutes late.
Yeah.
So I haul ass out there.
It's the airport, though. You have to expect delays.
Yeah.
Beginning and end when you're flying in.
But he came in early.
No, well, I'm saying
the wind blew him in.
He needs to expect delays, whether he's coming.
You're getting a ride on Easter Sunday. I committed to this 4 weeks ago, not knowing it was Easter Sunday.
Yeah.
So he was very gracious.
Some Catholic you are.
Yeah. I did the thing backwards actually. I was like, oop, wrong one.
I did it so much in Catholic school. I think.
See, I wasn't raised Catholic. I was raised like Presbyterian and Methodist or whatever. But
I was raised fluid.
But when I went to BC,
Christian fluid.
When you're in high school, you're hungry all the time. And when they did mass at BC, if you were Catholic, you could go up there and get a little cracker and a sip of wine. And I was like pretending to be Catholic because I get a touch of food. So I would go up there even though I wasn't. I learned all the prayers and shit.
Yeah, the things that hunger will make you do.
Yeah.
I went to Catholic school for 1 year.
Wafer.
Yeah, for 1 year. And I converted to Catholicism from nothing, really. You know what I mean? Like, I converted.
Catholicism?
Yeah, non-Catholicism. And I converted over the summer just so I could, like, participate in the, get full integration.
You feel like you're part of it.
Full immersion.
Yeah.
You know?
You're like, oh, I'm with this.
And then when he was telling me that the Virgin Mary didn't have her, what's the
a hymen?
Yeah, no. The hymen, he goes, the hymen was not broken on her vagina. I was like, I don't think I need a guy that pronounces it vagina teaching me about.
Also, was somebody poking around in there afterwards? There's the baby, and hold on. Oh my God! That's not how that works. The baby would have busted through it. Anyways, so
that's science and religion all in the same sentence.
So I do this. I haul ass to get Brian. I drive to my house, stop to get my weed pen. Take him to his house, which is on the back ass end of Wall Tower. Which, if you're not from Savannah, I drove 100. I went 110 miles yesterday and didn't leave the county. So it's like the back ass end of Wilmington Island. Then back to my dad's to get my car, trade cars back to my house. Vinny and Allie came by, and then we went to Tybee to Vinny's for second Easter, because now apparently it's Christmas again, and I'm doing second Easter to go to their house. But thankfully, I want to shout out Randy and Michelle Autry. They picked up a duck, and they left me a wine cake. It's like a rum cake, but a wine cake.
Oh, okay.
And Michelle's like, the only thing I can make is this, and I make it very well. So they picked up the duck. I wasn't home. I just let them in the house or whatever. And I dropped the cake off, and I'm like, oh, I'll take this cake to my second Easter. Look, I made something. I take it to my dad's. I'm getting out of the truck. I drop the cake. Cake does one full flip, lands correctly.
Shut up.
Championship.
Butter side up.
Yeah. So I'm like, woo! Because it didn't matter. That cake was still going.
Yeah.
Like, it smashed or not. I put the cake in the back of the car. We get to the house. I go in. I eat, and I look around, and I'm like, I've got your stupid cake. So I go outside. We go to Angel's house. I produce some stuff. I come back and go, guys, I felt terrible for not making any food. So I went and baked the cake, and here it is. And somebody fell for it. They're like, what? You really did? I'm like, how would I bake a cake in like 15 minutes?
You know what? You know how long baking anything takes?
I don't have an oven in my car. I mean, maybe not yet.
During the summer, you could just leave it in there.
Yeah.
So is it just
I
a
did
cake? Did you just bake the cake and then soak it in wine?
I didn't do anything with the cake. Michelle made the cake. I brought it inside, claimed it was mine. I didn't claim it was mine. I gave credit where credit was due. But yeah. But speaking of Easter, we're not saying this, but how many people said to you yesterday? Well, you didn't hardly see anybody.
I didn't see anyone.
I saw a lot of people.
Yeah.
Happy Easter. This just feels awkward, doesn't it? Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas rolls
Happy
off the
Halloween.
tongue. Happy Halloween. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Those all roll off.
Happy Flag Day. They all work.
They all roll off the tongue.
Happy 4th of July.
Happy Easter is just kind of like, it's assuming, because Easter is watered down to an eating holiday.
There's a zombie on the loose. I am not happy.
It's watered down to an eating holiday, which is fine. I don't know, celebrate any day you want.
For us, other people, look, a lot of people go to church.
Yeah,
right. It's like probably the most attended church day of the year. I'm going to go. It's probably number
There's
one.
probably people that go once a year.
It's Easter.
Christmas.
Yeah.
Christmas.
Oh, Christmas too. Yeah, they go to like midnight
That's
mass.
be up there.
Yeah, but that's mostly for the Catholics. My money's on Easter.
Yeah, my money's on Easter too, because more of the denominations of Christianity probably go to church on.
Yeah,
Well, I'm Episcopalian, so no guilt.
I'm a pescatarian.
not a lot of Jews there on Easter Sunday.
Not a lot.
Hey, oddly absent. Guilt or something? I don't know.
So we celebrate Easter as an eating holiday. So it's weird.
The three of us for sure.
Yeah, it would be weird to be like, Happy Food Day.
Happy Food Day. Yeah.
Happy Ham.
Happy Ham Day. Because ham is a part of Easter. Ham and deviled eggs are the two staples. And strawberry cake in the South.
Okay.
A cake with strawberries, because strawberries are in season right
Banana
now.
pudding, I would figure.
I don't know.
But that's good for every holiday.
Strawberry cake.
Banana pudding is for every holiday.
Charlotte made a strawberry
every day.
crab cake.
Huh?
It's for every day.
And I'm not a huge banana pudding fan. I'm more of a fan of the wafers that are on the edges.
The Nilla wafers.
Vanilla.
wafers.
So,
thing is, you don't want it fresh wafer. You want like a day in it, so the wafer's all like
buddy,
soggy and stuff.
Oh man, soggy wafer. You want the soggy
The thing
bottom.
is, if there's no vanilla wafer in your goddamn banana pudding, you can fuck right off.
It's just banana custard slop.
It's just pudding slop.
It's pudding.
It's not a hospital, okay?
If it was chocolate pudding,
it's not a Happy Easter now.
Don't ever say Happy Easter to me if you don't have goddamn deviled eggs. And well-soaked Nilla wafers. All right.
You know what was nice, though? I had never had on Easter. Somebody at Vinny's aunt's house had chicken and dumplings. And I love chicken and dumplings.
Oh, yeah. Classic.
Oh, and it was so good. I almost took some in a to-go cup, just in a cup, just to sip on it at Huckapoo's.
Yeah.
Where I got Huckapoo's and was like, oh, outside bar's closed. Texted you. Oh, guess you're not working today. And I was like, are you not working today? You're like, nope, took the day off. It was a Meester miracle. I was like, oh, came up here to say, hey, what are you up to?
Oh, sorry.
It was this.
I should mark that one.
you label all of them but that one. Wait, which one else is a label? Come on here. So I had no response. And I'm like, yeah, he thinks I'm going to be like, come up here and see me. Or I'm going to come. Because I tried to call you and I was leaving Tybee.
Yeah.
The first time.
Yeah, I think you tried to
Tybee.
call me a couple times.
I tried to call you 3 times yesterday.
Yeah.
Oddly, no answer. Again, more crickets.
Yeah. Well, once I got home, I
tried different times.
I fell asleep right away when I got home. After I watched a little bit of the Masters, weird golf will put you to sleep.
I love golf naps. God, golf naps are the best.
So I fall asleep for a little bit, and I woke up and I was like, I don't feel great. So I just kept laying in bed. I didn't even look at my phone. That's the truth. I promise.
I don't believe you.
But I was a little disappointed because I didn't go. I didn't get to go to work and get the onslaught of after Easter holiday food that they bring up there. But I'm kind of glad because I've kind of felt a little bad last night, so like I wouldn't have eaten a lot of deviled eggs or.
I could have had third Easter meal because Vinny was like, let's go out. We went to Huckapoos, and his lovely pregnant girlfriend was like, I'll drive you guys around. And I'm like, look, whenever you want to leave, wherever we're at, we will leave.
Out of respect to you for driving.
Because she's it's kind of crowded bar. Thankfully, it's not smoky, but like it's going to be crowded, especially then the outside was closed. So it was kind of it was busy, but not slammed. And then like we're there for 45 minutes. Let's just watch the end of the Masters, and then we'll kind of see where we feel after this. And she's just kind of sitting there, and I'm looking around. I'm like, we're just hanging out with the three of us. Like we've said hey to everybody and stuff. And I'm like, look, do you want to go? So we go to the lawnmower bar, where I was like, man, what a good time I had at the lawnmower bar a few Saturdays ago. Well, I walked into the lawnmower bar with the two of them, and
was Santa Claus there?
There was nobody Claus there. There was 10 people in there. They weren't even watching the Braves game, which is Sunday Night Baseball. They're watching NASCAR, and there's no music or sound of the TV playing. It's just 8 or 9 people just in a room.
If you're going to turn the music off for a sporting event, play the sound of the
Maybe
sporting
you're trying
event.
to push the jukebox, but have something going on.
How much money does that goddamn jukebox make you, anyways, to sit in a silent bar?
I'm like, good God. So we sit down and try to. I'm like, Brian, where's Brian? Oh, Brian's at the other bar. Doesn't have a car. We're gonna go over there.
Yeah.
To like get out of here. But she's like, hey, we have some leftover food from Easter. Y'all want some? Let's offload food. And I kind of look over and I'm like, whoa, what time did the food get here? She's like, about 2.
Yeah.
It's 8. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm good on this. Been hanging out food all day.
Yeah.
But it was.
Speaking of NASCAR, let's imagine you're NASCAR and you're the biggest brand in American sports racing. F1 is, worldwide. NASCAR is the biggest brand of stock car drive racing rednecks, right? And all of a sudden,
leave Kelly alone.
And all of a sudden, you try and market electric cars to those people. That's the same as.
Okay. Yes, you.
Okay.
Yes, you. Dude. I've never been to a NASCAR race. Have you been to a NASCAR race? I'm sure, of course.
Pit Stop Kelly.
Pit Stop Kelly. Golf and NASCAR. Every man's combo of love.
And he used to drink Bud Light.
It used to until recently. More on that later. The sound. I mean, everyone says it's the sound, right?
Yeah.
Of the car just by you and all that. Like the Jetsons.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. With your electric car. Well, they used to do. All right. I've never been a big race fan, but I went to a Daytona 500 at a buddy's house, and he had just got.
You don't like races? Are you racist?
Goddamn racist. So he just got a giant TV. This is back in like 2004 or something. So he got like a 48-inch TV, which is like the giantest one.
A plasma weighed 48 pounds also?
Yeah, exactly. And then the big surround sound. And Fox, when they had the Daytona 500, they would do a crank it up segment. You remember this pit stop?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Boogity.
I'm sitting in his, theater, NASCAR theater, and it goes, crank it up. And all of a sudden, they're whipping behind my head. I was like, oh, I feel the excitement. I've never been to a NASCAR race theater before.
I'm, not a big NASCAR fan, but that thing, the crank it up thing, I've got 7.1 surround sound house one day. I was like, you know what? Let me try this.
Sure.
Like, whoa.
It's pretty.
It's like when I'm watching movies, like things will zoom, like watching like Star Wars, it's like things zoom behind you and you're like, ooh, ooh.
Yeah.
I think I told you the first time I set my 7.1 surround sound up, I thought my speakers were broken. Because the sound of fire crackling from the beginning of Infinity War, if you've ever seen that movie, it's like the ship's gone down, there's burning everywhere. And I was like, something wrong with this?
I thought you heard the director. I thought you heard the director in the background giving direction for a porn video you were watching.
Yeah.
No.
You know what no one does? Watches porn. Well, no one healthy watches porn in 7.1 surround sound VR goggles on.
I bet there's a lot of people.
I don't want to get caught jerking off. You know what I want to get caught jerking off with is VR goggles on.
VR goggles.
Or you kick your black light to someone's VR goggles.
Surround 7.1.
All right, if you've got a friend with VR goggles and you've got a black light, please do us a favor and shine them shits on their VR goggles and let us know how sticky they are.
So Thursday I go to work and this lady comes in and she says, hey, got anything not made by Anheuser-Busch? Now this is last Thursday. I'm a babe in the woods on this, okay? I don't know, don't care, really. So I have no idea what she's talking about. I was like, oh, she's probably just like, fuck big beer companies. I want something local. She looked like a lady that would probably not act like that. Probably act more like she's mad about something that the company did, but I didn't realize this at this moment.
So she's white.
Very old and white. So later on
She
that
likes
night,
NASCAR.
later on that night, I talked to Clint on the phone, and I was like, "Hey, this lady was asking me about if I had non-Anheuser-Busch stuff, and you broke the story to me, basically."
And I didn't at the time know a lot about it.
Yeah.
But I'm currently doing my own research right now.
Yeah. So,
But,
well, whatever. So Bud Light, Anheuser-Busch, whatever. So they're marketing with like rainbow flags on their cans and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So when I first heard this, and then I thought back to that lady, I was like, "Oh God, what a dumb thing to open with if you're going to a bar. What if I were like gay, you know?" So it's a dumb thing to open with, number one. And for me, right away, it fell into the who gives a fuck category. Who gives a fuck what they do with their cans?
Yeah, so they sent a commemorative can to a transgender activist influencer, Dylan Mulvaney.
Okay.
Oh, I don't know who that is. And
So that still would fall
Kelly,
into
you're trans. Who's that?
that would still fall into the who gives a shit what they do
Yeah.
with their own stuff.
Does it bother you?
Yeah, right.
Did it
But then I was like, wait a minute. That's the dumbest fucking thing from a marketing standpoint. Because like I was saying, NASCAR, you're NASCAR fans, you're not going to market electric cars to them.
or rainbow cans?
Right. So Bud Light, you're not going to expand. You're the biggest market in the U.S. You're not going to expand.
Budweiser is the most popular brand in the world. I mean,
Well, no, there's like some Chinese, like Sing Ha, Sing Ma.
people
They count.
people with credit scores.
Right. So it's
In the free world.
the dumbest marketing scheme.
It's not dumb, but it's not. Here's the thing.
You're not gaining anyone. You're losing.
Let's go out
people.
here on a limb and say, look, more NASCAR fans are drinking Budweiser and Budweiser products than gay people. than
Exactly.
transgender people.
If it was Stella Artois or like
or wine of some sort.
sure,
Yeah.
then you might expand your market a bit. But
Yes.
you're not expanding the Bud Light Budweiser market.
Because, like, they do the cans that are like sports team related. You always sell them in that area. I mean, like, here's the thing. If you try to hand me a Philadelphia Eagles Budweiser, I'm like, no, thank you. But I'm not, you know what I'm not going to do is take that 12-pack of Budweiser out in the backyard and shoot it with an
Shoot
MP5.
it with- what a dumb waste of fucking ammo.
Yeah. I mean, well, when you're Child Rock, you've got the ammo.
Here's the thing. Who has it in them to make such a stand on something so goddamn pointless to be like, hey, now I know like it's keeping yourself in the public zeitgeist. Like, hey, look, I support non-gays. Look at me. I'm going to shoot a can of beer
A 12-pack of beer.
for not target practice, but because it's gay.
Like, what?
Look, do things.
I know Kid Rock.
That's actually better marketing than Bud Light's doing. Kid Rock is marketing himself to his fan base.
To his fan base, but like, I'm sure there's not a lot of gays for Kid Rock out there.
Right.
His music is oddly kind of gay.
His music is super gay.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
It's so anti-gay. It's looped back around.
It's done a lap.
It's on a NASCAR lap.
It's a
It turned
NASCAR lap.
left repeatedly back around to being gay.
So
And there's a lot of colors in NASCAR. A lot of bright rainbow colors.
back in the day,
NASCAR.
the Tide car could have been mistaken for a rainbow car.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
The DuPont car was rainbow.
Yeah. So having this lady, I'm literally a babe in the woods at this moment. Like I have no idea what the F she's talking about. So I was like, but then as the day, as it went on, I started to be like, oh, I see. She takes offense at everything.
Oh, for sure.
Because if you're an old white lady and you care about not buying something because of that goddamn,
Karen, sound like a Karen.
we
to
can't
me.
tease it that hard yet. So yeah. So
That's what she said.
towards the end of that day, that shift, I was about to get off. We were, switching shifts and some new people came up and I was like, hey, Mike, will you take those people? I know it's right at 5:00, but will you take those people? He's like, well, why don't you take them? And I was like, I don't want to build a relationship with someone that I'm about to leave in 5 minutes. Like, hey, how you doing? Where are you from? All right, see you later. That's like if I'm at the outside.
Me as a parent.
If I'm at the outside bar.
Every breezy ride ever.
Yeah. If I'm trying to close the flap and someone walks up,
Put their hand in.
yeah, I don't want to be like, hey, where are you from? Oh, you from? Oh, Cincinnati. Good. See you later. I'm closing the flap on you, buddy. Yeah, that's literally every breezy ride ever. I can't imagine someone getting a breezy like, so how long you been here? It's like longer than you're going to be in this car.
Yeah. 10 minutes.
The 8
That's the thing.
minutes
Like,
you're
an Uber ride can last 45 minutes. There's probably no breezy rides in this day and age.
unless
that
you're
are
in the
longer-
junior ride along program.
Yeah, or they're longer than, unless you're leaving the island because you're lucky enough that people will take you home off island. Otherwise, it's 10 minutes maybe.
At the most.
Oh,
10
it's gotta
minutes.
suck though, Kelly. When you get stuck in like when there's one of the high traffic days and you got like just the shittiest fare, and you're like, oh no, they're like, so where are you from? Hate queers? You're like, God damn it, no.
So what do you think about them queer cans on them Bud
and you're
Lights?
stuck and you're like,
oh, God.
Actually, I'm gonna get out of the car. You can have it.
Yeah. Yeah, so what a dumb thing to like boil your blood about or to protest against. Now, if it was like, if they put a swastika on there, I get it.
Yeah, I think that's a little
I think that's reasonable to be like, hey.
especially around Easter.
Yeah, but do you think, all right, do you think
Easter
Kid Rock,
swastika.
do you think Kid Rock would shoot a swastika can? If they'd like, let's just posit.
Then he would shoot it and then he would shotgun it. He would shoot it and he would shotgun it. The
By
shotgun.
shooting it, I mean shotgunning
Yeah,
it.
and be like, yes. All right, do you think at Nazi Easter they have a swastika made of deviled eggs?
See Easter.
They have a
If we could,
swastika
if we
of
could,
deviled eggs.
if we could name the podcast, that we
will
could,
got
but we
it.
can't.
Swastika Easter? No, we can't. But God, that would be a great name.
Wow. But coming up in the second half, we do have
That's my porn name. Is
a
Swastika
Darren
Easter.
Divine intervention, I think.
Yeah, and we've got a Karen that's been almost 4 years now of her Karening.
Take that shit to trial, bitch. We'll see y'all in the
Yeah.
second half.
Ever wanted to start a podcast? Don't have the equipment or the know-how? Well, we've got you covered. From Behind the Barcast is expanding into the commercial studio space. You see, step one is making sure you sound great, because no matter how good your content may be, people don't want to listen to something that sounds like this. From Behind the Barcast and Paxton Eugene Productions now offer in-studio audio and video production. Or the studio can come to you. We offer mobile podcast production from wherever you are. Now, with the hard part out of the way, there's no excuse for you not to get started. So if you're in the Savannah area, shoot us an email at FromBehindTheBarcast@gmail.com for details and a quote. Again, that's FromBehindTheBarcast@gmail.com, and let's get your voice heard.
Hot?
Hot,
Hey, welcome back.
hot shit.
So we were going
If someone yells hot shit, what do you think of immediately?
I don't know.
Nelly. Going,
I think someone's coming around the corner with hot food.
that song was just hype as shit in Savannah because he said smoking blunts in Savannah on the.
right,
on the
yeah.
Well, Nelly's songs went from good to bad all the way down.
Remember when they did Welcome to Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
And then
They remixed it.
they remixed it to Welcome to Savannah. I was working in a kitchen downtown at Fiddler's, and
It's crazy because I was working at the Chart House at the time. We were side by side.
no shit. And that song would come on the radio in the kitchen, and when Camouflage comes on, it's like, Savannah, we made it. Boom, he's shot like the next year.
Were you there when he was shot? I was at the Chart House when he got shot, when Jason got shot and killed, and like everyone's immediately related to him. So like the restaurant had to almost damn near close. Kitchen guys were like, I can't work. My boy got killed, and like I knew Jason. I used to hang out with him and do stuff.
His name was Jason?
Yeah.
Oh.
And he was a good guy, but
Yeah.
he was just. I mean, he got that contract with Universal for $1 million, and was like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm still gonna do? Sell dope and rob somebody.
So here in Savannah, and I've talked about him on Patreon before.
Shout out to Hot Grits Podcast.
Exactly. I've probably talked about it on Patreon before, but one of my old dude, when I had the studio in downtown Savannah, Booga, one of my favorite artists,
Yeah.
that, I loved his work. He was signed with Young Jeezy's record label. He was more than a rapper. He was a dope boy too. And he ended up getting shot too, because here in Savannah,
So a rapper, okay.
yeah. So, well, if you're here in Savannah and you do well at all, you have a huge target on your head, because Savannah,
Pun intended on
Yeah,
there, huh?
Savannah's-
Camouflage.
Savannah's people are haters
Yeah.
in terms of like music industry stuff.
Because we have one of the greatest rappers of all time is from Savannah.
Big boy.
Big boy.
That's right.
Sorry, Camouflage fans. It's not.
But
he's not,
I
you
mean,
know,
Camouflage is the second best rapper to ever
yeah,
come out.
yeah,
of Savannah.
yeah. Or people like to claim Mary J. Blige for Savannah. I think she lived here for like 3 years. I'm like, get out of that shit. Johnny Mercer's the third greatest rapper from Savannah.
He was a poet. So on the
So raps to naps. Huh?
raps to naps on the break. Kelly, and I'm glad you didn't mention this first segment, but he was like, yeah, Saturday for the Masters, he was at home all day. He had to work at 5:30. It's raining here on Tybee, or it's like,
I don't worry about Masters.
it's like stormy-ish, rainy on Tybee. There,
It's gray.
it's gray on the screen. He goes, I've never had so much visual melatonin in my life. Watching the Masters, rain and wind outside of your own house,
And raining and windy at the Masters.
and what's his name's voice
Yeah,
lulling
Dance.
you to sleep.
It's such a good thing. So we discussed this in the break. It kind of came in the first segment. What's the best sport to watch and nap? to nap and watch?
So if we're going in order, obviously golf would be number one.
And we're going to put a poll up for this, and you guys can, we'll put it on the Spotify.
You guys can,
and,
you guys can
vote.
chime in.
Please
and let
vote
us
on
know.
it. So when we have a poll on our Spotify or whatever you listen to, please comment. I will put anything you comment on anything.
Yeah.
I'm going to respond to it, and I'm going to on
Upvote
Spotify. I have to upvote it. I tag it. If you comment on the Spotify thing, please do that. YouTube videos, please comment. I will converse with you, even if you hate us, like the guy did about sandwiches. He was like, I don't eat mayo and cheese. I want to stay skinny. I was like, or you can do other things to be skinny. Yeah.
You like workout or something?
Yeah, I don't know.
So number one for me would be golf.
YouTube, you can't look somebody up and be like, oh, who is this guy? On Facebook, you can be like, what a douchebag. But YouTube, you're like, I can just see the videos he's watched.
Well, see, the YouTube comments are a different beast than like Instagram or most other comments because it's so anonymous. People will say the nastiest.
It's like YouTube is right below Twitter for how
they will
nasty
say
you
the
can be.
nastiest shit, man, for no reason at all.
Because YouTube will flag you for certain things you say, but Twitter's like you can say whatever you can say, swastika, deviled egg cake, and no one cares. But
so number one for me is golf. Number two,
I'm gonna go golf with you. Number one,
dog days of summer baseball.
Yes,
because baseball, it's
hot to get the fan on full blast in your
house.
It's
a drone.
And when it's summer, if you live in the super south like we do, when it's summer, you open up your windows when you get up in the morning to get some you should at least to get some sunlight in.
Yeah.
But you close them blinds and windows about 10 or 11 just to conserve energy and keep your house cool. And so it's 4:00 on a summer Saturday. All the blinds are closed. All the curtains are closed.
It's nice and cool.
Nice and cool.
And you got somebody going, and the 3-2 pitch. Oh, just a little bit.
They're hot. They're tired.
Yeah.
They're all. It's soothing.
So then pit crew Kelly comes in and says, NASCAR naps.
Absolutely.
He almost just fell asleep saying absolutely. You can't see it. Kelly went absolutely
because in the beginning everything's riled up.
Yep. And then for the next 2.5 hours, just that drone.
So hold on. When the NASCAR goes full electric, how good would those naps be?
Oh my God. Electric NASCAR.
Electric NASCAR naps?
You know the fastest Mercedes in the world is electric?
I mean, the Tesla Plaid apparently is the fastest.
Oh, I didn't even think about Tesla. But I just thought the Mercedes.
Can you imagine you get hit by a car going 200 miles an hour? You can't hear it.
Can't hear it.
Boom! Ah!
It doesn't knock your shoes off whenever they hit you with an electric car.
It knocks your headphones off.
So I kind of agree with the NASCAR thing because I don't care about it at all. So if it's on the TV, it's sort of like a sound machine.
You just need the start of the race and the end of the race. Anything that happens in the middle, that's
what Hitler said.
It's just oh my God. It's just wow. It's just like a baseball game or the baseball season. Unless you make it to the playoffs towards the end, unless you're in it at the end, it kind of doesn't matter. All the middle. The second.
Oh yeah, you want a good nap? Early September, your team's way out of contention nap.
The second,
like the two worst teams in baseball playing each other. Oh, geez.
Second act of the baseball movie that day is nap time, baby.
So also, tennis naps before 7.1 surround sound were the fire.
Because it was depending on who's playing.
Depending on who's playing. You know,
if Serena's playing, you're waking up every 8 seconds.
Well, if Serena's playing, I'm doing something before I nap.
That's what I normally do to put myself to sleep.
But tennis is good.
I think Kornikova was like that too.
She was a runner.
I mean, sure, me too.
Oh man,
she was a smoke show.
And then, but not a lot of the men do it. I think Djokovic kind of.
There's a few guys. I mean, it depends on the stroke they're using or how well they moan.
Yeah, you never hear moan on the backhand. It's always the front hand that you hear the.
Yeah, you don't moan when you backhand somebody.
That is true. You go.
You're like, bitch.
You do that, Tim.
But you know what you don't nap to is UFC, football. Sometimes football. Now soccer, football. There's moments for that.
Yeah.
You do all the vuvuzelas. You're like, and the crowd's chanting.
Well, depending on the commentators, because there's certain English commentators that are very polite. They're like,
but if you want to wake up from your nap and someone scores a goal, you're like, ah!
Or even just a shot on goal.
Yeah. And,
if you're listening to
when you kind of wake up, you kind of blink for a minute and you go back to sleep.
If you're listening to an Argentinian or Brazilian or any South American coverage of football.
Yeah, the Spanish word for goal has 74 O's and 18 A's in it.
So many syllables. It's going to shut itself off. Yeah.
So if you hear the beeping in the background, that's not Paxton's pacemaker. That's the sound of this cauliflower casserole
that we forgot to put in the oven on the
first segment, which I made for Easter also, and picks to follow. But fire.
So UFC nap.
So UFC nap not happening.
Now,
well, people in UFC get napped. They take naps on, just like.
But if you're not working, right, and you just go to like Martin, he was like, hey, I'm watching the fights Saturday night. Because here on the East Coast, the fights don't even the
main
prelim
card
starts at like 11.
The main card starts at 10.
Yeah.
So depending on the speed of those fights, it's going to be 1 o'clock in the morning before the main event starts.
Yeah, I don't care how fast the beginning fights are. They're going to push until
they also have like there's a time it can start based off of their their prep and their diet and stuff. You don't want the main event guys in there kind of. You want the co-main event. Stop saying co-fucking main event, okay? It's not the main event. There's a main event, and then there's the fight before that. Yeah. It's not the co-main event. Yeah. Because when the main event comes, he's not like, the co-main event. He's like, it's the main you've been waiting for. He's all of a sudden saying, goal. And so
let's get ready to go.
This UFC 287 that just passed, I had to get up and cook ducks the next morning at 7 o'clock. So I was like, look, I'm not having people over. I don't want to do anything. So instead, Martin, Rob, and I are in different places texting one another about the fights. And I'm like, all right, I'm winding down when the main event starts, which is, if you're pro tip, don't use that to wind down. Yeah. It's, again, not nap fuel. And it's Israel Adesanya, a.k.a. the last style bender, fighting Alex Pereira. The only guy who's beaten him 3 times. Beat him twice in kickboxing and then once in their last UFC fight. And Stylebender had won round 1 through 4. And then Pereira came back and just got him.
Knocked out or?
Yeah, knocked him out. I mean, he won the first fight.
I didn't watch the fight. I fell asleep.
And so this is kind of the redemption fight.
Sure.
And Pereira's got a little bit of size on him. And it's going good. It's going into the second round. And you're thinking Stylebender's just getting worked a little bit. And so it mirrors the end of the last fight they fought when he gets up against the cage and starts getting at him. Stylebender is like, oh, no, you've got me. You don't have me at all, motherfucker. Boom, boom, boom. 4 punches, drops him. 1 hammer fist from God, pulls back, shoots him 3 times with the bow.
Boing, boing,
boom,
boing.
boom, boom. Like, just gets him. And like, I'm lost half an hour of sleep now. Because it was so awesome. And like, I love Stylebender. Israel's his shit. He's such a good guy.
I didn't know that he had lost.
Yeah, that was his only loss in UFC was that previous fight. But the only guy that's ever beat him in any professional fight was this guy. So like, this is such a redemptive thing for him.
And that was the co-main event? Or the main
yeah, sure it was. And then, it was enough to where, Rogan and DC, they're like, Rogan pushed, was it Max Kellerman, the other guy? Literally almost threw him on the floor. He was like, oh, I almost fell down. I'm like, you got pushed by Joe Rogan. By a 4-foot-tall monkey who weighs 300 pounds. Joe Rogan's center of gravity is on the floor.
And Max Kellerman's like a tall...
I think it's Max. Is it Max?
Yeah.
You know what, Martin? Let us know how mad you are about us getting this wrong.
We were.
I'm texting with both of them, but I think we're all watching it on like a legal stream. So I'm like, I don't want any, you get behind, you got to switch streams. So I'm like, I don't want to be server. Did you see it? So you're saying like, and knock yourself like, yo, you want to be like, hey, something happened, but do you know what happened? Because you don't want to ruin it for your buddy.
Yeah, spoilers.
But Stylebender, Joe comes in the ring to interview him, and they're actually the guys are being pretty good to each other after this. They were training partners too, him and Alex, and then this has caused some beef or whatever. And Joe's like, yeah, I'll get you in a minute. Here you go. And Stylebender goes, can I take the mic for a minute? And Joe's like, I mean, you just knocked him out. That's fine.
Please, yes.
Nah, bro, don't.
Yeah,
I know I'm fresh, but I'm not that fresh. I'm 54 years old and a lot of testosterone. Not me, Joe Rogan. Shout out, Joe. Thanks for listening. And he gives this great speech about not giving up. You don't want to give up. You want to keep trying, even though this guy's beaten me 3 times.
Seems pretty boilerplate.
But it was a little tear. Little tattoo tear shed down my eye.
Gotcha.
And I was just like, this is kind of nice. And then the interview was nice. And it was a very heartwarming win for a guy who's literally been spending all the time in the world. And the fact that he was like, oh, you're beating me up. No, you're not. I am now going to mess you to hell.
And all the, once you're done with a physical altercation, basically, with a person, the hardest thing to do would probably be like, so here's what happened.
Here's what happened, guys. My balls are hot.
My balls are hot.
You know what? Talking UFC and drinking wine's great. But I do want to shout out Rob and I to texting through all of that. And Rob brought up a good point today. We were discussing, podcast stuff here and there. And Rob's, Patreon subscriber, listener. Check out fitnessemporium.com if you want to buy fitness equipment. But Rob brought up a good shitty ass.
Oh, shit. It's the Karen of the week. It's the Karen of the week. Oh, shit.
You come on vacation, you might leave on.
Taser noise.
Taser noise. Kelly wasn't ready for taser noise at all. Yeah,
I'll put it in post-production.
This tased ass Karen is trying to sue the city of Tybee Island. So in 2019 in August, Karen's on vacation with her family and her.
It's hard to call her Karen because she is.
Her name's Karen. No,
She's
young.
She's younger than 21.
Her name is Olivia. We're going to call her out because this is a public thing. And her sister were on Tybee Island trip. They, with their mom was elsewhere, I guess, the house, and they were trying to get into the Rock House on Tybee with a fake ID. The cop, the door guy takes the ID and goes, "This is not real," and tries to hand it to a cop. She snatches the ID and runs. Now, apparently, she had some kind of like foot injury recently, and she was slower. The other one got away. There's two cops. One chases the other. The guy catches her right in front of one of our favorite bars, the Windrose.
The Windrose, yeah.
And so she's going down to the ground, and she is, as Karens do, screaming and yelling a whole lot.
And now there's a body camera happening.
Yes.
So we'll post
the whole thing's on body cam, like the whole 11, 12-minute event. But she's, claiming police brutality, and the guy that was with them, I'm not sure if they had known each other for a while or he had met her at the Rock House. There's just one cop on top of Karen trying to subdue her without tasing her, but was telling her, "I'm going to tase you if you don't calm down."
And she is a wild banshee at this point. You'll hear it on the video.
Karen may have had some cocaine Karen in her.
I mean, something, and especially
those weren't deviled eggs.
You got to be on something to, number one, and we'll get to the other part later, but trying to snatch your fake ID back when someone's trying to hand it to a police officer.
Yeah, take it and run.
Give up then.
Yeah.
Just give up.
They've got backup. Lots of backup.
They have backup. They also have, what are they called? Weapons.
Sobriety.
Oh, and there's one more thing. The law on their side.
And they're a little bit bigger than you, Karen.
Especially
so
a 19-year-old.
Karen runs, gets taken out in front of the Windrose. Thank God it was in front of the Windrose. So, and you actually see our sponsor for this, Fitness Emporium, Rob, in the background in the video of this guy who shot people. People, if you're going to shoot a fight video, do everyone a favor. Turn your phone horizontally so we get the whole big picture. Do not film vertically. It looks like ass when you replay it later. Please.
People want to do it vertically now so much because if they want to put it on TikTok or an Instagram, like
you
reel.
can convert the video.
Understood, but it's
better for me.
Yeah.
And Paxton and
No,
Karen
I get it.
and
I'd rather see a widescreen.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I want it as an HD.
Yeah. And so the video you were playing earlier, I guess it was like a news version of it because they bleeped every
curse word. Daily Mail, so they're bleeping every cuss word.
Which was, I don't know, every 2 seconds.
Yeah. So Karen goes down. Cops got her down. She's screaming bloody murder. And this guy who's trying to be the Karen hero tries to intervene, which, pro tip you don't do is when a cop has someone on the ground, you don't run up and grab the cop. You are not a cop. You have been drinking. Don't touch
probably
cops.
underage.
Yeah, well, I think he was of age to get tased. But you don't touch the cop. And when he's grabbing the cop, he's drunk. So he, at some point, puts his hand near the cop's gun. Now, I don't think it was on. I don't think he was trying to take the gun.
Doesn't matter.
Cop,
you don't touch a cop.
but you don't touch a cop. You stand. When I talk to a cop, especially like if I'm drunk, my hands are behind. I am parade rest, sir. I am hands behind my back. I am calm and not Karen-y. But this dude, we'll just call him Darren, is trying to intervene. So the cops just like, get off me, and other people around there are like, hey, dude, stop. And like, even you hear Rob yelling, like, dude, get off quit.
Yeah.
So the cop gets her. The other cop has lost Karen too, who's gotten away. She's very fast. Comes over and is trying to assess what's going on. They've tased Karen one a couple times, which she deserved. And she might have enjoyed it. I don't know. And the other cop's talking to his partners, like, what's going on? He's like, this guy tried to grab me.
And he couldn't address her right then because he was alone. The cop
alone, yeah.
So he waited on back.
He's outnumbered technically because it's Karen and this guy.
And then a lot of onlookers too. And you don't know which of the onlookers are going to insert themselves.
Side. Yeah. Now, officer, you could have been fine because you got to know those Windrose boys got your back.
Yeah,
especially now that who owns Windrose now.
Yeah.
But so the other cop shows up trying to see what's going on. They've got Karen subdued, and he's like, that guy, and he says it quietly, that guy tried to grab me and grab my gun. The cop goes to get him, and the guy tries to fight the cop. Now this cop's probably about 260, and this guy's about 180 and drunk. And
180
young,
maybe.
And doesn't go well for
shirtless too, right?
No, he had a shirt on.
Okay. Well, that's a plus.
He took it off later for his mugshot. But the cops trying to get him to the ground, and the report online on different websites changed depending on what website you go to. It's like, the cop grabbed him and punched him and dragged him to the ground necessarily. No, dude was fighting back. Also, he had committed a felony already.
He had already went to touch a cop while in the throes of duty.
Yeah.
Right.
So active investigation.
And you go, if a cop's on top, you just don't touch cops.
No. Look, I thank God I haven't had to be subdued by a police officer in a very, very, very long time. Because when a cop's like, do this, I'm like, cool. You got me, buddy.
So then the backup shows up and he quietly says, hey, this guy was touching me while I was trying to subdue this.
He followed me.
So this guy shows up and he will not, he's like, I don't know if it's his girlfriend or what, but he's like, get off of her. And finally, this other cop wrestles him to the ground.
And then you hear the backup coming in. And so this girl's mom has said a lot of things that happened that shouldn't have happened. It was just a terrible situation. She's traumatized by all of this.
So this hasn't gone to court yet in terms
so
of
she's now trying to
I'm
sue.
talking about for the criminal charges that they levied against the girl who got tased.
She must have gone to court by now.
I don't know.
See, August 2019, court would have been in March 2020 when something happened.
Well, no, but yeah, it's like there was a pandemic and a lot of court dates got pushed back. And when you take that shit to trial, if you have a good lawyer, you want to have a continuance and a continuance and a continuance because maybe the same cops won't work there.
Yeah. Well,
whatever.
The statements from the mayor is from Jason. So shout out Jason. Brian Herford flew back from Cincinnati on Sunday, the guy up in the airport.
Yeah.
You know, he had beers with in the airport to watch the Masters.
Jason Bilderman. Our old mayor.
Our old mayor.
And a good friend.
Our best mayor.
Yeah.
Our best mayor.
And a good friend.
Hey, that's still my mayor.
Still my mayor.
Man of the people.
Yeah,
That's
man of
still
the
my
people.
mayor. Until Duke gets in office, that's still my mayor.
And he and I were kind of diametrically opposed politically, but he was still a man of the people.
He was
Like,
great. He
that
was
shit
great.
doesn't
He dealt
matter
with
to
two
me.
hurricanes. Like
Yeah.
he got in a helicopter and flew over Tybee after the hurricane to help people. Said like people were commenting like, "Can you go by my house?" He was like, "Fly over there to so and
Let's
so's
go.
house."
Yeah.
Like what a good guy. But let's get a quote from Karen's mom. We'll call her Karen Senior. We had to take her to the hospital. She had irregular heartbeats. I hate to say that, Karen. Lost her hair. She had emotional trauma. She had to go to counseling, and the whole thing was traumatizing. The lawsuit claims she was not resisting and was actually afraid. The cop tased her so much she was going in and out of consciousness. If you watch this video, I don't know if you scream when you're unconscious because she did not go in and out of consciousness.
I wake up
at
from
all.
nightmares, like that sometimes, but
Yeah, nightmares are the worst.
I don't think that she was unconscious at any point during that
I almost
video.
went unconscious from the screaming, but her mom is obviously playing the victim, and they just feel like someone could have gotten killed by this. A lot of things shouldn't have happened, but it's a misdemeanor.
Don't touch a cop.
Her mom is saying you get tased 6 times for a misdemeanor. She could have easily died, and we're lucky she didn't. I mean, if they continue to do this, somebody will, and that's why we're speaking out against it because it's got to stop.
You know
It's got to stop. Running from cops.
Running from cops or snatching your fake ID.
From the cops running, and then fighting back, grabbing cops. Like all these things should
And
stop.
we live down here, and I don't hear about a lot of tasing incidents. But
No. There's
even
been
if-
like one other one that was a long time
But
ago.
even if
different.
there were, I would be like, well, what did the assailant do? They don't just
Exactly.
go around. We had one big tasing issue down here
and
one
that
time.
was
And it was a
early
long time
2000s.
ago, but it was a bad look because they didn't know
Yeah.
the condition of the guy that they tased.
Yeah, the guy was-
So
yeah.
they got kid gloves kind of when it comes
Well,
to the,
it was a water fight too, so you don't want to get tased while you're wet. I don't think.
oh man. So down here, it's kind of kid gloves. You gotta F up. You gotta fuck up real bad.
Yeah.
To get tased,
Yeah, you have to. You gotta
Yes,
be,
let me go do that.
Yeah.
Pit Crew Kelly.
Cauliflower Kelly's going down. Cauliflower Kelly.
Romanesco Kelly.
Yeah. The trippy fruit. But yeah, you got to really F up to get tased. Here's the thing. They warned her, I'm going to tase you if you don't calm down. I get in the heat of the moment. You're going to maybe fight. Here's the thing. You're not getting away from the tasing.
Right. And you don't have a defense for yourself. Like, oh, I'm being falsely accused of something.
Yeah, you have definitely done this. It's on camera.
It's on camera. It's in front of a very busy bar at that time. So this is 8/4/2/19.
Yes.
So that means it's like the dead end of the summer break.
But for college kids go back to school, I'm guessing this
There's
Karen was in
probably-
college. I'm just going to go with probably Kellogg College. Karen's not in
Yeah.
some good school.
There's probably
She's
like
going to college where Tom Segura went.
50 witnesses out there that
Yeah.
saw her snatch her ID. And then
fight back in front of the windrows.
exactly. Where there's, maybe not the best eyeball witnesses, but
The most reliable. Not at that time.
Yeah.
Was Mike working that night? I mean,
But
God, did you see Mike on a police video?
oh man. So they're trying to on this video every 10 seconds. It's like and it's like
Yeah.
you're literally just being held down right now.
Look, you're down, and like her mom said she was 90 pounds. She's probably like 110, 115 pounds. But like So you're down. You're not getting up. Even with the help of your skinny idiot guy friend over here, you're not getting up.
Did he think by doing that?
happened?
Did he think by doing that he was going to get some pussy later? Because there's no way she's not getting arrested.
Yeah, and now you are too. But maybe you say, I'll be in
the same cell with her.
You could just spit on the cop, buddy. Because I remember this. This was one of the, not the first of many contentious Facebook arguments Clint got into. Shocking, guys. But this caused a little uproar amongst other people that were,
There's some people that no matter what the cops do,
they're anti-cop.
They're anti-cop.
And so I had this out with a couple of my friends, and I got into it. People that they're good close friends got into it, and they were like, you don't do this. There's other ways to do this. I'm like, here's the thing. Okay, so people are like, people that are like, shoot the guy in the leg instead of the body. When a cop's shooting somebody with a gun, 95% of the time, they're doing it. Look, you aim for the middle of the body. They may move. You hit something else. You don't shoot somebody in the leg because if you hit their femoral, they're probably dead. Or you may miss, and they may kill you.
Yeah.
So the cops are doing most of the time for their own good.
Yeah.
But you're like, you have to tase them. You can do this and this. It's like, look, this guy's dealing with an emergency situation in a busy area.
He's being
with a bunch of drunks.
With a bunch of drunks.
Else. He's got to do what he can do to stop what's happening.
And he doesn't know that the people that are surrounding him, what their intentions are.
Exactly.
Whether they're like,
and he's alone.
And he's alone. So he's got to assume that some of them are like, well, fuck this cop.
Yeah.
He's on this 90-pound girl. It's like, well,
8 Captain Save-A-Host could come in there.
Yeah, exactly. You got to do something. And then when you're in the line of duty and someone comes up and touches you, if this was a military situation and if you touch a soldier while he's got someone down, you're getting shot.
You're getting shot for sure. Or waterboarded.
So think about it in the same way. This guy's out there alone.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of people gathering around. You don't know who's friendly and who's not.
You don't know anything.
You don't know anything.
You literally were like hanging out in front of like the busy area of Tybee to kind of just, make sure when there's problems you're around. And then you have to run somewhere and you don't know who's with who, what's going on. You got to be careful. And I want our officers to be careful.
Of course. I want everyone to be safe.
It's back the blue, not grab the back of the blue.
Yeah, exactly. And look, I'm not an advocate one way or the other. If someone does something wrong, if a cop goes out of line, they shouldn't do that either. It's not drawing a line between who's right or who's generally right and wrong.
Yeah, and the thing is, you're not in court right now.
Yeah.
Let's stop the situation and then we'll talk about it afterwards. You can't intervene into a physical situation.
And with the way policing works today, there's body cams everywhere.
Yeah.
If something is amiss,
and these body cams didn't go off, there's multiple body cams.
If something goes amiss, it is being recorded. So if you have any evidence at all, it's going to be on those recordings.
Yeah.
It's not going to be like, no, I got tased 5 times. Actually, the whole thing was videotaped.
And like the end of the video is like they've got her down. She's finally owned where she's at, and they're trying to like, hey, look, we're gonna get these barbs out of you. Like they're trying to be nice to her.
Yeah.
And because they went from they had to do her, but then they were kind to her.
Yeah.
And it wasn't they were trying to make up for what happened.
No.
They're just trying to and she is chilled out. Surprisingly, I don't know what shocked her into that, but it caused a lot of social media kerfuffle.
Sure.
But
like every goddamn
and this was
thing.
August 2019. Thankfully, nothing after that over the next 4 years caused any social media kerfuffles at all.
At all.
Not one thing.
Not one thing.
But you know what didn't cause a kerfuffle?
What's that?
Let me take this wig off for a minute, okay?
That was you the whole time.
God, shocked Kelly.
Shocked.
God. I was going to be a Darren. This job I worked at years ago, not recently at all, years and years ago.
Not now.
This person who was in a position of management, he didn't have a taser, thankfully. He would have tased himself. He's an idiot. And he's everyone's
He would have held it in the wrong
manager.
direction.
Yeah, he would have tased himself and then blamed you for it. Because this Darren and I got into a short argument where he goes, you took the wrong food. Your ticket was only in here for 25 minutes. This other one was in here for 12 minutes. You took the wrong food. I start laughing loudly and hysterically at him and go, hey, buddy, 25 is greater than 12. That means this was in for that. And he starts yelling at me. I'm like, you can't argue with math.
Like, you can't argue with time.
And so we're 10 feet away, so we're yelling a lot. And the kitchen guys just start laughing because they realize you cannot argue with math. No, Darren, you can't argue with math. And he's getting more and more mad and screaming at me. And like another girl there is like, Mommy and Daddy, stop fighting. I'm like, I'm not stopping this. I'm in a great mood. I've had a great day. But you can't argue with numbers. you're wrong, and just say you're wrong. And you're just trying to blame me because you made a mistake.
Listen,
not blaming me.
Time matters. We are not traveling at the speed of light where time is relative.
Yeah. And
we are on Earth, and time is a mathematical concept.
45 minutes before this, I was trying to help him get things out of the window quicker. And he goes, look, you got to go slow with me. You know, my brain doesn't move real fast. And then later on, he's trying to argue with me about 25 and 12.
25 versus 12.
You know why it was, though? It's 25. He only has 10 fingers and 10 toes. So the number was
He was
beyond
5 below
He
his
was 19
max.
versus 12. He's like, oh, I got this. Why are your shoes off in the kitchen? So I leave this.
That's why you take your shoes off in the alley, so you can count your tickets.
Count my tips. So I leave this, and I'm a little hyped, but I know I'm right 100%, and I'm laughing about it mostly. I go back into my little room. There's a side room at the restaurant I used to work again 5 years ago. No recently at all. Not a room with a bunch of windows on it. That's called the aquarium. So I go back into the room and I have a new table. I'm watching them walk in. It's a older black man, about 60, and his girlfriend she's half black, half something else. I obviously cannot tell how old she is. She's between 25 and 100. She's aged well, but she's missing the lower half of her right leg. Later on, I do some math and figured out she tells me, I don't ask what happened, but.
Does she have a prosthetic?
Yeah, she has a prosthetic, a very nice one. And we talked some, and one of my tables next to them was a guy in the military. She said she was in the Gulf War. And he asked a question I couldn't ask. Is that what happened to your leg? And she said, yes. I stepped on an IED, and my leg got blown off. So she's almost died. And so she's super sweet and nice. She didn't have her glasses. He doesn't have his. I'm having to read them a lot of things.
Whatever.
She goes, they order their dinner. She goes, what is the dessert menu using this little thing on the table? What is the praline cheesecake like? So I try to describe it. She's not grasping what I'm saying. I'm a little busy and, again, a little frazzled. So I did talk kind of fast. It's a new thing I'm trying out. We'll see how it goes.
Talking fast. That's
and
weird.
So I want to be Max Headroom one day. So I'm trying to put on, you know what? I'm going to go in the kitchen and take a picture of this thing and bring it to you. Good idea. I'm busy. I'm stopping everything for this lady. I respect her immediately, obviously, what she's been through.
Sure.
She's incredibly nice.
Yeah.
So I go take a picture of it.
And you'll do that for people like that.
And I told them, your food's good. We're slammed at this time. I'm like, it's going to be 30 minutes before you get your entrees. Here's what the cake looks like. She goes, I'll take a piece. And I was like, okay. What do you want? Do you want it right now? She goes, I do. I want this cake right now. I want a coffee with it, and I'm going to drink coffee, 3 cups of coffee. And I go, oh, baby.
Baby.
Lady, do you know why this is what makes me so happy about this. That's not what it was. It's the other way around. What makes me happy about this lady, is I'm going to get emotional for a minute. So my grandmother, Pat Hovland, my sweet grandmother on my dad's side, she would go into restaurants when we were younger, and she was, in her 60s, 70s, and she would order dessert first. She would look at the waiter and go, look, I want it now because I'm old, and maybe I don't make it through this meal. Who knows? But I want my dessert right now because life should be lived in the moment, and I'm going to have my dessert right now. And when this lady says she wants her dessert right now, she's been through Gulf War with an ID, she's blown up. I'm talking to her, and I am
memories are welling up. I'm kind of
all the tables in the room are gone.
My spine is tingling.
And I'm like, ma'am, I'm going to go get it right now. And I go in the kitchen. I'm telling everyone this story along the way. And I go to the guy who's been making desserts. And I'm like, hey, man, you got to do this.
Yeah.
Right.
Let me get this dessert.
And he's
right
like, bro, he's like making whipped cream roses.
that she can't even see because she doesn't have her glasses.
Yeah, everybody, all the stops come out. The kitchen doesn't stop, but like you hear a skillet screech. Yeah. Everything's slowing down. I bring her coffee. I mean, I made a fresh pot, everything. You don't do when you're busy on a Friday night.
Yeah.
And everything, I'm catering to her. And the thing is, all my other tables in the room see this. I don't even think about them. But when check time comes on these tables, I'm like, why am I getting all these nice fat I was genuinely a good human being because I have a soft all people.
So the tables around it
saw this.
Yes.
And so it worked out for me in the end. And then it gets even sweeter. She has her dessert. They share. And what I do when I bring dessert to somebody else, I go, hey, I'm going to give you both the forks. If you want to share with him, you give him a fork and you think he's ready for one. So she's got both the tools. He can't even touch it.
Oh, man.
So it's,
Yeah.
I and I do that. Everybody, it butters up nice.
Yeah.
So end of the meal comes. He goes to tip on his credit card. And she goes, no, stop. We're going to tip him in cash. You're going to give him cash because otherwise they have to claim all of this. But I give them cash.
Savvy.
And I'm like, Look, I'll marry you.
I couldn't
Calm
love you
down.
anymore right now.
Can you adopt me?
I couldn't love you anymore.
I mean, I am all. Also, are you older than me or younger than me? I don't know. But like, I am just like, huh. And you have saved bad math guys a life in the kitchen because I came into the room I was pissed, but I was like, Jesus Christ, again, this guy's an idiot.
When
One
you
more
told
time.
me that your Darren was redeemed by someone else, I thought it was going to be another person that worked with you.
No, they didn't do shit.
But it
right.
was a customer.
A customer. Unbeknownst to her, I was all of a sudden gone from a good mood to a not the best mood.
Unbeknownst to her, she made your night more profitable.
Yeah.
She remedied a problem you had with your management.
So I was going to have to go in there with an abacus minutes later and show him what math was. He wouldn't know what an abacus was at all. He was like, why do you have this beaded thing? We're keeping score for something over here? Yeah. So it literally turned, that was one of the best days I've had at that restaurant 5 years ago. It was like changing your socks outside.
Yeah.
It was so comfortable.
Speaking of funny things grandmas do at meals, so when I was very, very young and my mom and dad got divorced, my mother and I went and lived with my grandmother for like half a year or something like that. And my grandmother grew up like super poor. So we would go to, not often, but we would go to restaurants and she would order her drink, like her water or soda or whatever, and wouldn't touch it until she was done eating. And I was like, wow. After like, I'm a kid, I'm really young, like 5 or 6, something like that. And I'm down in Cokes, or Pepsis or
you're about to run around the whole restaurant.
Yeah, I'm chugging drinks. So finally,
I wasn't allowed to do that. I don't know why they wouldn't let me have.
Finally, I was like, Nanny, that was her. I was like, Nanny, why don't you drink anything until the end of the meal? And she was like, well, when I was coming up, if you filled your stomach with liquid and you didn't fill it with food, you would get hungry later. And there was no midnight snacks or after dinner there was no food later.
And all the while she's shoving sugar packets into her purse.
It's like you ate what you ate. Because there wasn't anything until you might not have breakfast.
We know gluttony now.
Yeah.
And back then they didn't.
So her not drinking anything, I was like, I don't know if it's like scientifically right, whether it matters.
It is not, but that's fine.
But that's
someone may come and steal your food. You got to eat it now.
A friend of the family from Australia doesn't eat bread because it's like a disservice to whoever made you a meal. Bread is like a filler.
Yes,
so the meal itself should fill you up, and bread would be like an acknowledgement, like I'm still hungry.
Oh,
so and it's a neighbor of my folks in Augusta, and wonderful guy, but he's like doesn't eat bread. He's like the meal.
I was
right. That's respect. Yeah. So that's
here's my thing. When restaurants, a lot of restaurants have bread. We don't have it at the place I work at now, or 5 years ago. But I would bring limited bread because I don't want you to fill up. One, it's going to cost me money in sales later on. You probably won't get dessert. Yeah. Now, sometimes, middle of the night, I don't want you to have dessert. Get the fuck out.
Yeah, here's the bread.
I want another table.
Yeah.
But places with good bread, I want to bring them a limited amount, like Garibaldi's. I talked about throwing the bread in the freaking air conditioner. But that bread was amazing. That rosemary, you've had it with the sea salt.
I'm not knocking bread.
No, I'm not either.
Culturally.
But
I get that.
If you're going to go somewhere very nice and have a very nice meal, or if you go to someone's house and they've spent time smoking ducks for you for hours, you don't
just sit there and eat the bread.
That's
get
why I don't
filled
serve
up.
bread at my house. But the bread's going to fill you up, and you're eating something that's, while it's good, it's not part of the experience. Bread was originally mostly used just to push your food around with.
Yeah, right. Yeah, as like a backboard.
Yeah.
It's just like ramen shops. If you're not slurping properly, they're like, you're not getting the experience.
And no one slurps louder than Asian. The Chinese, the loud slurpers.
Japanese too, because that's where ramen was, like actual ramen, not fucking packets.
No, but the Japanese, you were incorrect. They're a little more polite. They don't slurp as loud as the mainland Chinese people that shit in malls
or
on the ground.
They shit in malls, okay?
Yeah.
Not in the bathroom.
Not in the bathroom. And
then I heard, it's probably like an old wives' tale or whatever, but it was like I think it was Japan. They're like, if you don't burp after your meal, that means you weren't consuming it quickly enough.
If you don't fold your napkin up right.
But if you're not burping, they're like, oh, did you not enjoy the food?
That's could be true. I got bread shamed on Easter yesterday. The Lord has risen. The loaf has risen.
Hey, you got to proof bread.
So
the loaf has risen.
I try to, I want to eat some bad shit sometimes, so I try to eat around that. So I get ham. I ignore the little sliders that are really good. I just put a giant squirt of mayonnaise. It wasn't Duke's, but it's still mayonnaise on my plate. And my friend Mary Liz is behind me, and she's like, what are you doing with all that mayonnaise? And I was like, well, I don't want to get the bread. She's like, but that's weird. I'm like, so I just slathered this bread with mayonnaise and put the ham on there. It's fine. She goes, yeah. I'm like, you bread shaming me. I'm kind of avoid the carbs of the bread so I can have all this macaroni and cheese over here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I don't need to have, also, I have to drive to the airport in a little while. I don't want to be tired.
I mean, look, it is a little weird to most people.
It was probably the amount of mayonnaise because it weighs my plate down to the side and almost tipped over.
Well, whenever you brought over...
I actually squirted mayonnaise onto the table and took the rest.
Whenever you brought that chicken salad sandwich over or whatever, the pile of mayonnaise that you squirted onto your plate as a dipping, which there's already mayonnaise in the chicken salad.
So?
And he is scooping mayonnaise as if it's like hummus on a chip.
I love mayonnaise.
So that we were talking about...
That's
like,
the whitest part of me.
We were talking about the old wives, like sort of the old wives' tales of like, is it really real that if you don't slurp loud enough, they don't think your food's good enough?
Yeah.
Right when Kelly came in hot today before you got here, he said he's going to be here at 7:04. I heard pitter patter of feet up the stairs.
Oh, he's rushing. It's 7:03.
And I was like, it's 7:04. This sumbitch right here. So he comes up and we start talking about music a little bit. He was like, you know, ZZ Top, they used to play their guitar strings. They were made of the fenders of Meltdown 57 Buicks.
Yep.
And they didn't use picks. They used old crusty tortilla chips.
Yep.
Oh, I was going to say goat's teeth.
True.
And I was like,
Did Martin tell you this?
I was like, he goes, and when they were playing on the Flat Earth Festival.
The Flat Earth Festival. We should do a Flat Earth Festival. From behind the Flat Earth Festival.
From behind the Flat Earth Festival.
Well, you know what's going to be behind, guys? We're going to do it. We're going to go take a little cauliflower casserole break.
And are we going to do it? We'll do a short Patreon. Yeah, why not?
Because we're going to talk about one thing. We were talking about sleeping, about nice, melatonin naps, things that make you sleep well. But when you sleep sometimes, you have bad dreams. And sometimes your bad dreams have a soundtrack. And it's the soundtrack of music you're exposed to at a job that you worked at 5 years ago that plays the same songs, not in a row, but it's just the same
loop. Same loop,
basically.
Just not.
It's a different order. Yeah. And you keep hearing many of the same songs. So when you dream, even if it's not about where you work, that's the soundtrack to your dreams.
Soundtrack to your nightmares.
And you wake up going, tweedly, tweedly.
Well, thank you guys for listening again this week. We're on Instagram. We are on YouTube. It's free to subscribe. Just hit the little red subscribe button.
Make a comment. Talk shit. I don't care. Make fun of me.
It helps the team out.
Make fun of my blonde hair.
We're going to put the poll out on Spotify this week, so answer the poll. What's the best thing to nap to? We thank you for your continued support, and for our patrons who make the show run, thank you. If you'd like to join the Patreon and get extra content, it's patreon.com/FromBehindTheBarcast. We love you guys, and we will see you
next week after Paxton's birthday.